All right, folks, let's get right to it. Another edition, Harmonic Pattern Podcast number 500,000. Let's go. What's going on, people? Welcome on a Thursday. Markets just the rip and destroy, and we're going to get into that. What can we expect going forward? Is that it? Probably. We're probably looking for a rip roaring move into the summer. So saddle up. Some of the things we have been talking about are exploding. So we'll get into that. I want to talk semiconductors today because that is the generational opportunity for the rest of the decade. I know a lot of you are crypto heavy, but kids, it's not too late. I've been talking about semiconductors for about 2 years, 3 years as the leading sector of what is to come, and we will dive deep. Everyone else, listen, new people, welcome. Lots of new folks. Hit subscribe, hit the button, hit like, hit the bell so you know when we go live. It really depends on my day. I shoot for 12:30, now 12:45, but we keep it loose here. It's all cool. We talk harmonic patterns, and that's mostly harmonic pattern framework. We'll look at other technicals, but everything within harmonic pattern framework. So that starts with getting the software in front of your eyeballs to learn and profit from what we do here. So send your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. I'll give away a 30-day package today. We're going to keep it light. Great session, great stream on Tuesday. Really big shout out again, Mitch Ray. He's the best, man. Mitch is great guy, great friend, and we always have just a deep conversation. So get over to our Discord as well. Hit up there. and you want to learn more, want to access the free chat, if you want a extra trial discount, I keep it loose here for reasons that are, obvious. Makes it a lot easier for me to dive deep and do what I do without too much hassle. This is not a hard sell thing that we do here. You either get it or you don't. If you don't get it, it's not a value. Go find something that is of value. But most people, they see harmonic pattern framework in action. It is of value to spend your time to learn because these are lifelong skills to be able to frame out the market and understand what the hell's going on. Forget the news, forget the talking heads. You need to think for yourself. You need to create that framework of opportunity. That's what we do here. Let's talk. I want to dive deep on the semiconductors because, man, this is the place to be, and things are just rotating. We keep on making progress. Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, guys, I have been talking about this for several years, and it's incredible that a year ago we bottomed at 3,500, and now we're ready almost to do 300% in a little more than a year. And there are reasons why. The whole data center thing, the whole technology boom that's happening, space exploration, the world is going to be a semiconductor. Everything you deal with is going to have a semiconductor chip in it. I mean, we always knew that, but now you see the realization. And I just want to throw a couple of ideas really quick that the semiconductors themselves are in a massive super cycle. Massive. So, I'm looking for semiconductors. 10,000 is just a number. I threw that up a while ago. Guys, we do a 3618. That's how to treat it. And that's 12, 8, 13,000. So you're talking about another 30+% move in the semiconductor index. The immediate target right now is a 2618. 2618 is like 10,2, 10,000 roughly. That's where we get that number. But if we go back, okay, and we look at really its history, it has been phenomenal. And, we had a few notable events. Mostly was the all-time Y2K top peak. And I'll share some stories here because that's where I started out. I started out as an intern on the floor of the Philadelphia Stock Exchange as a data CRT operator. CRT operator was the person that would manually change the quotes on options of mostly semiconductors. And I mean, it's incredible to think how that's all changed, but that's where the bug bit me. I didn't know what a semiconductor was. I didn't, kind of learned about it pretty quickly, but I knew that the action was there. I mean, I can't even go back. Where's 87? I have to go back to the index itself because I don't see where is the total history of that. Got to look at that. Where's it should go all the way back to the 80s. I mean, when I was there, guys, semiconductor index was trading like 300. So, I'll have to come back to that. Regardless, we're going a lot higher. And you want to focus on those names that have yet to make the major moves. We talked last week about these second tier semiconductors as the play. I talked about Marvel. I talked about ON Semiconductor. That's up huge today. All right, and I'm going to show you some examples, but okay, ON Semi up 654. We were up almost 8, above 80, and you're just looking for these. If they haven't broken out to all-time new highs, you're looking for that to happen and then actually go on a new cycle breakout. Great to see everybody. Come on in, folks. Hit the like, hit subscribe, and get settled in. We'll go to about 2 today. I'm going to keep it light. and we will look at whatever you guys want to look at. You want to pop some of those in. Some of the ones that I've talked about, I'll show you things you probably haven't looked at, haven't seen. Let's start with SMH. All right, I mean SMH all-time new highs as of yesterday. Big stuff. And this why semis matter is because that's what's leading the entire technology sector. Absolutely. I mean it's phenomenal stuff going on here. NASDAQ especially, NASDAQ 100. For our purposes, okay, you want to see this go down. All right, you're looking for this kind of a thing. Weekly, continuation signal just got going. So that is a big deal. We have absolute reason at a high level. That continuation has already started. Again, I think we're in a weekly climb here that takes semiconductors. Just you are just blasting. I mean, the semiconductor index, guys. You look at this trend channel, and to me it looks like we're just pure harmonic metrics. Okay, that we already started, and you go off of last year's low for the semi. It looks like a big harmonic, extreme harmonic impulse wave. That takes SMH up to like 568. Let's call it 570. You know, you're talking 25% or so higher from a fat finger long. Not to mention, okay, the monthly chart. Look at the monthly candle. Bullish engulfing. Explosion. I know it looks like, hey, this has gone too far too fast, but this is a difference between where you have a massive breakout versus something that's kind of capitulated. Something that's capitulated, you know, it's going to give us those internal readings. Not there yet. We're still in the overbought on the monthly. As long as you stay up there, you just keep riding it. I'm going to show you a couple things that are, you know, we talked about on semi and a few others that are just absolutely exploding. A few ideas that you can dive into right now that have yet to move. I like Skyworks Solutions. This is a big turnaround play. We've got dots. We got this massive downtrend. All right, but look at the weekly. Weekly type 2 butterfly down here, right around 5620 hop level. I'm liking that. That's something that is yet to materialize fully. The other one was where did you go? Where was the other one? On semi, and then what was the other one? Marvel. Let me go to Marvel and M chip, and those are both up big today. I mean, M chips just getting going. They all had a massive flush out last year. And I would look at it like this, you know, if you're not at all-time new highs, I'm looking for just about all of these to kind of do 886s. You know, X, A, B, C, D, take me up to the 886. 886, 1618. We've seen what can happen. Like, what are the devastating moves? Check out SanDisk, guys. SanDisk came out last year as a new IPO. It used to be a publicly traded company. They took it out last year. Okay, and this is all flash memory. Here we go. And at the low there was 27.89. We were 950 a day or two ago. 950, 30x. Now, they're not all going to do this, but it shows you how crazy things are starting to get. They've all worked. I mean, those have worked. The other one, I think probably that most of you know, Micron, where, again, a year ago, 62, now 460. So what I'm looking at is what's the next series of these to go? What are the next ones that are going to do a 5x, 10x? Because some of them, like come back to on semi here, that's got a lot of juice. Where this thing coming off some patterns looking left, you know, it was a type 2 crab at 46. Now it's 78. Got plenty of patterns looking left. All right. And I would look 886. But if we go all-time charts here, if something new is developing, if, say, a new cycle breakout is happening, on the monthly chart, it's a massive breakout. Massive breakout. I'm looking for 100 easy on this, but I'd even be thinking like we go to 100, we destroy that, a new cycle breakout, and it's going to take time, but you get to a 1618. That's how you get to, say, 160, things like that. All right, a lot going on here. A lot going on here. A couple more new, fresh ideas, longs to look at. Is Yeah, Wayne's right on with NVTS. I'll get to that in a second. Here's another one that I don't think you guys probably ever heard of. All right, an appropriate harmonic symbol pi, pi. This is impinge. Now look at this pattern, right? Look at that Gartley. This is why you guys learn harmonic patterns. You learn the metrics, the strategies, and the software. That's something that's screaming to us. That is something where you talk about 6 weeks ago, we completed it. It's a massive cycle retest that even retested that trigger from a year ago. So pi, P-I. I'd be watching that. If you're not on that, it's a lighter traded volume, 113,000 shares. I typically prefer something that trades a million shares, but with all these semiconductors, the volume's going to come. To me, that's a screamer. Weekly, PI is the symbol. Take a look at that. Wayne was saying NVTS, that is Navitas, and I like these other. I've been looking for the low cap plays. This is a super low volume. You're only talking like 49,000 shares here. Maybe I need the regular NYSE. Hold on. Let me see what the NYSE volume is. There you go. Let's get that one on. Good. NYSE. Yeah, that's better. I don't know what the boats thing is. That's up $1.46. Okay. Average volume here is 20 million. So let's go. Something's happening here. I really like this one. This has got steady progression. Clearly the downtrend, multi-year downtrend. That's something from a general perspective. Listen, if we're in a massive downtrend like that, okay, you've got to wait for it to break out. And maybe it's even better. I've been saying this quite a bit. Like, hey, it's tough to get in on something down this low and sit on it for a year, 2 years. But hey, once we break out, and there was the signal, and that was a year ago. You'd oversold HSI Arrow and another surge. And so here we go again. A lot of these are in play. They are ready to go. Dive deeper on what part of semiconductor sector this is in. But a lot of these are, in my opinion, they're ready to rock. Things like that, yeah, you can at least go back, challenge all-time range. I'm saying 16, maybe $20. But this is where it's happening. The other one, this reorganized Wolf Speed, I've been talking about this. They went bankrupt, they reorganized, they came back out, and it doesn't matter to me. I'm looking at this for a bigger trigger. I haven't done anything on this yet, but I think, hey, if they've got themselves together and this is actually going to work out, this is another one that, look, the number one turnaround play that I'll go to next really highlights why we want to focus on these. And that would be Intel. And I know a bunch of you, I talked about this a year ago of why Intel was a massive long. And look at it now. We were talking about this because the all-time bullish monthly type 2 shark, guys. No other way to read that. There's no other way we were going to discern that Intel was a massive opportunity. I told you my personal story. I jumped in a bit early, around 30 a share on 500, And I just kind of suffered. I suffered for a year, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to hold Intel. Intel's just one of those names. It'll turn around. Hey, if I crash and burn, all right, I'm going to lose like 15 grand. But now, okay, we're double from where I entered. We're a triple off of that target low confirmation. About the only thing I'm kicking myself on is probably should have doubled down. But I was at the point where I was like, all right, I'll just kind of use this as a learning lesson. I'm going to stay long because I got signals. And I did feel like, the crab pattern up here had to get retested. But that's how we read the opportunity. That's why I didn't sell. Personal mistake. My own mistake to have jumped in at 30. Should have loaded up at 19, 18, 20 bucks. Doesn't matter. Now, all right, I'm still long. I'm going to stay long. And this might end up being the generational opportunity of opportunities where you're here, you're up 270, all right, and you are, what market cap? Market cap is somewhere around 340 billion, okay? And Intel, with all the news stories that have kind of come down, government taking a stake, they're switching their manufacturing processes, whatever. For me, I'm looking at the big test, which is this generational 886. And the big thing was, it's not the first test of the 886. It is the second. It is treat it like a type 2. And what does it become? Well, X, A, B, C. Now we're up here, double 886 test that is smashing through. That's what we want to see, guys. Smash through the 886 and let's go 1618. We are, I'd say you're like 2-3 points away from making this a crab pattern, which our deep crab pattern, which I think it is. And so I'm going to hold and let's see if this can really become the generational opportunity. You get to 110, 115. All right. I feel like a lot of them are the recovery plays are going to do stuff like this. God knows enough of them already have exploded all-time new highs, Micron, SanDisk, whole bunch of other ones. So, stay with that. Let's look at Intel. Intel closes really any close above $70, and it should happen right now, is going to be the signal where you just look fat finger long above 70. Okay? Before I do want to get into some crypto today. I want to look at Bitcoin. I posted something about MicroStrategy where we have some patterns. All right, not yet ready to go, but I don't want to be dismissive of those patterns. We got to look at NASDAQ here. All right, you guys know for the last 2-3 years, and you go back even to like 2022, that you can go back to my live streams from 2022 where I was saying that's going to be the low for the decade, and we're looking for the generational opportunity of a lifetime off that low. And what is going to happen here, where we are now, we can use 2 of these extensions to really gauge how far we're going to go. Because incredibly, I hear a lot of people still calling for a crash. I am not one of those people. We are just going to simply crawl up the scale of harmonic ratios. 2618 off the 2022 correction gets us at like 26,980. Let's call that 27K. I am of the belief that ultimately, give me another 2 years, that we are in the midst of a 3618 advance. That's how bullish I've been. I'm looking. We've been waiting for this retracement for the last 6 months to end so we can jump back on. But that's my thesis, guys. It's NASDAQ like 33K. I know that sounds crazy, but we've already gone extreme. We knew we were extreme. You go back here, this is harmonic ratios at work. We break it out. We're first looking at a 1618. And what ended up happening, we had the 2024 to 2025 little tariff taco debacle. It was a 1618 1902. All right. I mean, you look at this, and if you understand basic harmonic ratios, we can identify early on what this is. It was a 382 retracement. That's it. So what happens after that 382 retracement? Minimum 1618 advance. We're there. That's what last year was. Okay, off the 382. Now, just understand we're on the verge of some big numbers. Big numbers. Okay, 1618, 1902 on NASDAQ. What are the levels? You guys know I'm all about the levels. We got to get the levels right and then confirmation. But here, off of last year, where's the 1618? On NQ it's like 26K roughly. There you go, 26K roughly. 1902, that should be our kind of secondary topside level. That's 27.6. So this monthly candle will end up being kind of the explosion that gets us higher, and I would be looking at, say, 27.6. I mean, where we are now is how we're doing it in such quick fashion. That's a sign. You can't sleep on it. I mean, the thing is woken up, and now allocation will flood. And then a 1618, which is the other kind of top end number, is like 28.5, guys. So we're sitting here 26.4, up 100 today. Let's look at the daily, because the last 10 days have been, last 10, 12 days so far off that April low have been one of the biggest percentage gains we've seen in history. And it's not stopping. That's how you annihilate an all-time 886. And for me, going forward, just so you know, let's get the levels out quickly, get ahead of this game. Look at the 886 right there. Bang. XAB. All right. 886 gets us like 25, 25,970-ish. And that's now become support. So maybe we back test a little bit. It is remarkable off the April low. Incredibly. No one's really talking about this. One bearish day since March 31st. One bearish candle day. That's strength. And what happens at it, that 886 tells us a lot of how strong the eventual move will be. And it's saying it wants to go. It wants to go now. This is not a surprise to us. Okay, final note. Weekly level, we had some signals, and we talked about this last time. Again, I talked about this with Mitch as well, and we talked about this on Tuesday, or last week, last Tuesday and Thursday, that we have, this arrow diamond kind of indicator on daily and weekly. Or where was it? No, was that on maybe it was the micro, on the weekly micro chart. I know we had two of them. Last year, well, arrow diamond, where did the other one go? Maybe it was the QQQ, which cracked all-time new highs. It was the QQQ. All right, and this has been the better chart because we almost perfectly hit the all-time 382. We were looking for 547. We got 555. But again, it's happening at a point where, it's significant there and there. Incredibly, it only took us less than 3 weeks to recover the 886. Last year, it was about 10 weeks, almost 12 weeks. But the same arrow diamond, those are harmonic strength index kind of indicators, confirmation signals that we definitely want to be following. That really clues us in to what's possible. And even the QQQ now, I would be looking for this. We're demolishing. We'll see how we do by tomorrow's close, but we're demolishing the 886. That matters. So if we demolish 886, we continue higher into next week, then you just line it up. We're just start targeting the next 1618. It is a growth iteration, the natural growth cycle assumption. That's like 685. Okay, big stuff up there. Couple more. Yeah, we'll get to that AMSC. What's up, Danny? Great to see everybody today. Gomi, what's happening? LG, what's going on? Leo, Justin, Slurpee. I love Slurpees. Slurpees are the best. What's up, Slurpee? Yeah, Amcor. We'll get to a couple others. You guys have more semiconductor names. We'll get to those in a second. But this is how big it is. This is what's going on. It's led by the semiconductor. Again, a big part of what we do here, define levels and define markets that are moving and go with them. That's the deal. Define character of the market. Is it sideways? Is it retracing? Is it, aggressively appreciating the markup phase? Wyckoff said, mark up, mark down, accumulation, distribution, simple concepts, but harmonics tell us a great deal of what that is. I'd say this is after this long kind of distribution retracement phase, we've jumped right back into the markup. So that retrace that we have been discussing since last year, and a lot of it was because of we had reached the 1618, is over. Not to mention, look at that. We did get a shark. We got a shark off the top on the QQQ. Remarkable. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep repeating that. You have the retrace phase. It ended up being not as severe as last year, and we talked about that last week. Of geopolitically, you couldn't have a scarier outlook. Yet, last year's taco debacle was just that, just a debacle. A short-term thing. So that was our 1618. And if you're not aware of just that simple assumption, if you're new to the ratios, the 1.618, that is our primary metric, and it relates to cycles in nature. Okay, that you find just an insane amount of natural cycles, plants, animals, planetary cycles. This is not astrology. It's just respecting that in nature, this 1618 phenomenon repeats over and over again, and we see it in the markets as an area, a clear level to pay attention to. That's what we're doing off of that 1618. Consider this like a type 2 retest. Exactly the 1618, 620, it's like 627, 630-ish, which is the number we've been saying for a while. So, and stay with it. Retracement done, retest over, rather benign. Although I know a lot of people were frustrated over the last 6 months. We're done. Let's rock and roll again. Couple individual names. I'll jump into Bitcoin in a second, guys, because that's important. But one or two of the other names you guys are bringing up that we've talked about. Amcor here. I've been talking about this since the low 40s. Remember this? I mean, what's that? March 30. Jeez, that was 42. Now 62. And it's because of we had a type 2 down here. Come on. Where'd you go? Where's the type 2? Yeah, we had deep crab at 39. I know Amcor is one of the ones we talked about. Currently hitting a crab hop level, so we might be done for now. But again, I'm not taking my eye off of this. This thing goes a lot higher. Other one is was it Applied Materials? Applied Materials, big type 2, but I don't think that was the one. Hold on. Oh, well, these keep putting in high level continuations. But, oh no, you know what it was? Kind of well, lesser one. American Superconductor. It's kind of in that same area, but I called it semiconductor, but superconductor, semiconductor, fat pattern conductor. And I think this is a big recovery turnaround play. I'm been long. I'm staying long. I'm looking for target one at 46, hoping for the explosion through straight on through. Yeah, couple more. Slurpee. Yeah, I mean, if you were a kid and you were going to 7-Eleven and getting Slurpees, you know how good they were. That's right. Couple others. Yeah, we'll get into the quantum trade, guys. Yeah, the quantum trade is absolutely coming back to life, and I think it's still early. The quantum trade for me is probably going to be something that in a few years the valuations are going to be insane. They went through a 50% correction, but I'm not taking my eye off of them. Global Foundries, we talked about that in recent weeks as another turnaround play. I like it, and it's starting to break out from this downtrend. So, yeah, Global Foundries, GFS, that's another one. Get it on the radar. Coming off of last year's bat pattern, that's fine by me. Here's the other thing that I've been saying to you folks, that you want to get exposure, because look, if we're right and these are going to do monster moves, they will follow. Maybe not as crazy as Micron or SanDisk, but over the next couple of years, we're buying it at the massive turnaround acceleration point where what are you going to need? 100 shares? A 4 or 5, $5,000, 100 shares right here. We're dealing with a crab at the moment, so maybe not quite fat finger long it yet, but these plays that a few $1,000, 3, 5,000 become something where 2, 3 years, it's 20, 25K. It doesn't take a lot. If we're right, we're going to be right big. It's not going to be waiting around for something that never happens. And I have to come back to two of the ones that I just pounded the table on last year. ASML. You guys remember? Go back to what I was saying a year ago. Go to the first week of April. ASML down around $600, saying that's a generational opportunity, and it still is. I mean, ASML, okay, and KLAC, these will become similar situations like NVIDIA or Broadcom. KLAC was this a year ago, 2 years ago. It was a type 2 at 630. All right, down there, hop level on the shark, never looked back. Also, a great example of how do you destroy bearish patterns to go crazy. Here you had a great crab pattern, a little reaction, and at 1, 2, secondary confirmation. Hold on 1 second, folks. 1 second. 1 second. So let's focus on that stuff developing. Utilize these obvious examples as kind of the roadmap going forward. And I'll give you one other new idea, guys. Okay, HIMX here, HIMAX. Hasn't done much. Coming off a type 2 crab at $7. Okay, if you're not long, probably most of you are not, I'd be watching this because, look, daily's got plenty of stuff. Here's that weekly. Look at that weekly type 2. It almost perfect type 2. There, it is a type 2 off of the shark. For HIMAX, you're looking for 1, come on back to the 886, but once we take out all of this at 16, all right, you're going to do crazy things. HIMX. Get it on the radar. Okay, what you guys looking at? You guys want to look at? Let's do a couple more stocks, and then we'll go to absolutely go to Bitcoin. I do want to talk about crypto because I've been bashing crypto for a long time, and I think we're gonna in the next 2 3 months. If you haven't reached a major low, we're gonna reach that major low. There will still be plenty of time to jump on this. Okay, but let's ID some things that are pretty obvious. Now we'll get into that in about 5 minutes. A couple other ones. Yeah. SanDisk is insane. Wolf, I'd look at that. AMSC. I'm just kind of circling back. Here you go. And I'll go to quantum too in a minute. But Rivian, guys, who told you? Who loves you? Who's suggesting that we start a position now? I am. Rivian and Neo are the two major plays that I've been talking about. They've been bashed. They have definitely put in some development. Short term, Rivian, I don't think we're going to get the check back. I was hoping we'd put in a dot, but doesn't look like it. So maybe nibble nibble. Why? Because if we're right about Rivian, we go from generally 15, 16, 17 back up to say 22, and then we'll take it in chunks, but something major could be developing here. I'm kind of interested, and also weekly has stabilized. We're above the 50, and even the monthly. This has been an ugly chart for a while, but these kind of assessments they're definitely significant. We're here retesting the 50 on the monthly, starting to now get to a point where larger things can take shape from this all-time low. That one and the corresponding Neo idea is even better. Again, why do you do harmonic patterns? It's going to show you things like this. Monthly, all-time, bat pattern at the 886. Taking its time, but guess what happened 2 months ago? We put in a higher low. We're breaking out. Look at it this way. Your beautiful pattern, confirmation, okay, didn't really break out above the 50. The first time was 2023. And that was kind of a failed breakout, in my opinion. But now, the thing that didn't go on preceding that, you never had a higher low. There's a higher low. Plenty of time on this. If it's 672 or 869, that's not going to matter because, again, if we're playing out and we're right on this, monthly target 2 or target 1 is $30. So plenty of time on it. What I'm saying, get it on the radar. Get it on the radar. Couple more. NDK. I don't know what that is. DK. What is NDK, my friend? Do you mean NDX as in NASDAQ 100? Oh, I think you mean SanDisk. Keep it going. SE. What's up, Claire? How are you, Claire? Claire's back in the house. C Limited. This is a shipping, right? What is that? Retail, trade, internet retail. Maybe I was confusing that with. I thought that was a shipping company. C Limited. Anything here? Not really, Claire. I don't really have anything I can dive into. All right, let's scroll back. The old pattern's looking left. Okay, all-time shark pattern. All-time shark pattern at what, 75? I'll take a look at it. I think you're still early. The easiest way to kind of gauge this, and again, I for any market, crypto has been under the pressure of a downtrend, and same thing there. Look, if you haven't broken out of a long-term 1 year, 2 year, 3 year downtrend, you simply have to wait till you're to the right side of it. A couple more. What do you guys have? What's up? G Dog wants to look at Lyft, and Lyft is another one. Shark, Beauty, Weekly. Okay, there's a starting point, and also I was just saying about these downtrends. You gotta break it out. So weekly, yeah, you certainly have patterns looking left. Have we broken out? You're getting there. You're getting there. Um, I think that's a nice turnaround for sure. Probably early stages. What about Uber, guys? Uber weekly? Not so much. Not so much. Daily time frame. Anything here? Yeah, not as great. The chart on Lyft is definitely better. I've always wanted to get a long-term position on Uber, but then I heard they were just did a deep dive that they just kept losing money. So I never really had a great position recent in the last year or two, except for this alt bat. Probably better plays. Yeah, a couple more. What's up, Doc? How you doing today? QSI for Jack's machine. We looked at that last time. Okay, quick. Let's dive into some quantum plays. Quantum computing. If you're not aware of quantum computing, well, you better get on it because the quantum thing is coming fast. And once they're able to advance it, particularly led by Google, to a lesser extent IBM, these are going to be massive, massive plays like the semis. QSI is a type 2. This is super speculative, low floater. Be aware of that. I am long the position. I'm looking for like a double here, and then we'll see. Go from $1 to $2. It's going to take a little bit of time, but you see the patterns. Better ones, bigger names. IBM. I think it's ready to resume. Okay, IBM on the daily just got clocked 30% retrace, but I'm starting to like this as a turnaround play. The weekly is better. Double dot. You're not going to get hurt with IBM, guys. Just ride the uptrend. That continues. And that's a fat finger long, 250. You can buy it now and then talk to me in a year. We'll be at 300. A couple more. Hey, Gomi wanted to look at Hog last time. I saw you posting that last time. Just couldn't get to it. Harley Davidson. So this falls into that category of these kind of turnaround plays, long-term downtrend plays, and that's where you are. Think of it this way. How much can you really expect until that downtrend is broken? It's tough. It's tough. Any big pattern, like monthly pattern? There is a monthly pattern. Okay. So harmonic pattern wise, I don't think this is a bad place to be looking. Hold on. Hold on. No, let me get out of that. Why is that doing that? Come on. Hold on. There you go. So it's a type 2. All right, I'll give you this. It's a perfect harmonic pattern, guys. Perfect harmonic pattern. You have the big bat all-time 886 retest. It went to target 1 all the way back down on the monthly chart. You're getting confirmation, but take it to the end of the month. And then maybe next month we'll see. We didn't test 1553 yet, but with that confirmation, maybe it's the first time we need to look. Remember, in that category, I've been showing you things like Clorox. These are, really boring names, big patterns that we want to start looking at now. I mean, Clorox back down here, but we're retesting. Monthly chart taking plenty of time. Target's now 123. This is probably the best long-term, one of these slow growers that I feel like the big multi-year decade low bottom is in. And we've been looking at that ever since like 105. We got this little tax loss selling. That's, and then the confirmation came in December. This is also a type 2. So the read on this, and that's the way to do it. Read the pattern. What is it? Type 1, back for hit the target. Here's the monthly retest, confirmation, purple dot, purple diamond. It's a type 2. So your thinking is we go to 205. It will take a year and a half, 2 years, but that's how we frame it out. That's the framework telling you what's to expect from this. So those three I think are good. There's others we talked about, but let's keep it rolling. Claire, again, Claire's back in business. Claire, Nike, okay, we throw that in the category that we're still waiting on. I mean, people have been looking at Nike since $100. Like, what's wrong with this stock? It was the big winner last 25 years up until COVID hit, and then bang. Nothing in sight. And we've been saying that, we've been looking for this kind of pattern confirmation. We hit the hop at 43.21. Hop level, harmonic optimal price. And that was the read for, at least the last 6 months. The other easy way to assess this is, what's the downtrend? Have we broken the downtrend? No. So you can't have great expectations off of this until it turns around, breaks out. Great idea, though. And you guys have had a lot of great ideas. I have to say, this crew is a great crew. I really appreciate the crew because smart people are here contributing fantastic ideas so that everyone, gets exposed to a wider range of opportunities. And the thinking of like, okay, we all know Nike. They're still selling shoes. That's not going to end. Their growth has definitely peaked out. But at some point, they're going to turn this ship around. At what point is that? Well, we need some patterns. We need some signals. We need a broken downtrend. That's still a ways out. I wouldn't fret it just yet, but it's something that it's a little bit different. And I compare this one to Urban Outfitters, which is something that clear uptrend. All right. And look, weekly HSI on that trend line retest, and then check out the type 2 pattern. Okay, that's how we know that's a different creature than Nike. Urban Outfitters, we're hitting some overbought resistance right now, but I'm looking at this 61 as a floor, longer term floor going forward. But those are two comparisons. Nike, retailer, terrible downtrend. Urban Outfitters, hipster, clothing retailer. What's the difference? Massive, long-term, still in an uptrend. The buyers are fully in control, and then here we got another continuation signal. I mean, Urban Outfitters has a history in the last few years of printing bullish harmonic patterns for the win, for the continuation, there and there. That's what to continue to look for. A couple others. Amcor, yeah, Anthony, Amcor is about to be all-time new highs. We already went over that. Astral wants to look at end phase. End phase, another great pattern. We put that on our radar at the end of last year. Okay. This is another one. You go on the monthly and you're like, what the heck happened to this thing? Because check it out. Look at the chart. End phase. Massive winner. From 17, what was that? A dollar? A dollar at the low went to 300 and something. Pretty crazy. But what happened? All the way back down. They lost their subsidies, all of that. But is this like a next cycle possible 886 reset all the way down here? I would say yeah. This is one of those where the 886 cycle coming in, once you hit that, think about, something new starting. And I will personally share with you that I have a massive end phase system on my house. I mean, enough that if we have the end of the world or whatever, or the entire grid goes down, I will never be affected. I've got a full battery complement from Enphase. Customer service is excellent. I think it's a quality company. But at what price? We do have confirmation. We do have double dots on the monthly. I'd say we're checking back. And that open bar, 32.25. So for the first time, literally the first time, you could say back here around $100. I'll show you why that was not an opportunity, but for the first time really since that failure, but you got to go all the way back here to that first surge. This is a massive area. That's a massive zone. We do have some daily, some other weekly things materializing that ENPH should be on the radar. Somewhere around $30. Okay, it's going to be a slow mover, but it's stacking with patterns, signals. I would say maybe next month is probably the first month to consider it because it won't be official. This current retest won't be official until next month. And then you have an arrow check back. That's down at like 27, 26. Okay. Deep value down here, obviously. Not, again, has not officially triggered, but this is how we kind of stack the evidence in our favor and say, all right, is this really a turnaround play, a generational turnaround play? I'm thinking you're starting to see the signs. And then remember, everyone can draw a trend line. Simplest technique in any of technical analysis. What's that done? Downtrend is over. Doesn't mean you go straight up, but you start looking for development. I like that. You guys also know I've been liking the solar stocks for a long time. Big reason why. It got patterns looking left at 30. We're still looking for 68. So it's a good idea. That's a good idea there. Looking for opportunities. Where you're fishing matters. Couple others. Yep. What's up? Ivan678 wants to look at Reddit, and so do I. We've talked about Reddit. I think it's ready. Reddit ready. Why? Well, Reddit on the weekly, after this massive downtrend move, arrow, dot, diamond, going to be official this week. Then we kick it over to the daily, guys. Okay, and this is not just like a small recovery. This is something larger. Gartley, massive Gartley. Okay, not the prettiest of consolidations, but after the last 4 or 5 sessions, I'm going to say this thing is making the progress. We're above these previous highs. And even on the daily. Okay, the daily's like this. Aggressive BC leg into the zone. Where did we break the downtrend? There, or you could even see there. Target 1, 198.53. I like it. The last 3 days have been massive. So I'm really liking this now. And let's hope we could get like a back test to 147, 150-ish. That could set us in motion. I do like this. And I like it as well because talk to me about the trend here. IPO came out, massive winner, retrace. Another continuation, retrace. So longer term, this is on an uptrend, and that's how you want your the definite opportunities looking. Are we on a long-term uptrend? Are we pointing up? Yeah, I can get into that. Couple more here. Yeah, creek is crossed exactly right out of Wyckoff book. LFMD, Life Med. Don't know what that is. All the way down at 390. Here's another concept stock. Okay, 886 all-time reset. All right. I mean, look. Again, another solid idea. All right, a contrarian idea. Why? Because you multi-year all the way back. It's at an 886 almost perfectly. What about daily here? Daly's good. Who is that? What's up, Gomi? A nice pick, man. I like this, and let me share with you one or two things that are going on here that probably in the last day or two make this a play. Make it a better play than even down here at 260. I actually would be buying this. I'd rather buy this at 385 than 260, and I'll tell you why. Obvious bat pattern, right? We all can see that basic harmonic pattern framework pointing us in the general zone. Where in that zone is the opportunity? Where do we go from pretty picture to real trade? Well, there's diamond dot arrow. Arrow diamond dot, if you will. We check back 265, 270-ish. Nice pop, retrace. This is the thing, and if you guys notice this, if you're futures trading, stocks, doesn't matter, any time frame, you see the initial signal, okay? There's the first confirmation. Now what we have is a secondary confirmation at a higher level. That's a big deal. I have not seen this thing before. And let's blow it up real fat. The dot was yesterday. Did we officially check back today? You get a dot. Okay, that makes today day one. The open bar is 378. Today's low, 375. You have retested that bar. That makes it a go. Like right now, fat finger long. Go ahead. And I would at least look at some of the basic levels where go back, maybe retest the arrow, 450, a little 886 swing. So generally, take it in small little chunks. You're here 390, go to like 460. And then we'll see. Ideally, yes. The larger pattern says, well, if it really gets going, we clear ourselves out of the zone at 546. The proposition is 882. You're a long ways from that, but today's day one. So we'll keep bringing that one up. I like it. It's because of the higher confirmation, it's significant. Yeah, you got it. We did NVTS already, Thales, and we're liking that. Cryptox lawyer wants to look at Mosaic, and I still want to get into, wow, time's flying. I want to get into Bitcoin and MicroStrategy in a second here. Mosaic, well done. Thank you, Cryptox. This is why you guys come to the program, to be able to highlight instant opportunities. I love this. Okay, Mosaic, it's chemicals, agricultural fertilizer, Okay, we know that that sector is happening. For our from our perspective, it is a type 1. Then the return for the type 2. So whatever's going on here at 24, support has been confirmed. 2417, that's the exact number. Confirmation will be generated today. And what about, wasn't this a weekly? Sure. Again, software is kicking out massive structures. This is, again, why you get the software, folks. Bat pattern, okay, that held support going back 15 months now. Reaction, retest, 1-2 patterns. 24 is the number. 24 is the number. And then maybe look at the monthly history. There you go. You've had a couple of bigger moves. Yeah, I remember Mosaic, back, what was it, 2008, when that went ballistic. The only thing I consider is understand you're still under the weight of this monthly downtrend, and that matters. But I do think this is one that has longer term potential to do major things. You're here at 24. We think it can go to 40 or 45, but even longer term, you got a lot going on here. I would even say that it is a type 2 that completed 5 years ago. So that makes this the first confirmation. That's big. I really like that. I like that. And it kind of reminds me of Dow Chemical at the low. Big stuff. And you're going to get paid 3.7 to sit on that. Dow Chemical was one where, remember this? 5-year bat pattern. Still like it. I mean, I'm hoping we get a retest. But again, these older economy kind of do nothing plays, that especially that they kick out 3, 4, 5% yield, a great place for a chunk of the money where, kind of set it, forget it, wake me up in 10 years when I've picked up 100% in dividends, plus I've picked up 100% capital appreciation. That's like, these are generational, permanent low kind of situations that you're looking for. Yeah. Yeah, like that. Yeah, we can go to Apple and, yeah, what's up, Mob? Welcome back. Stray wants to look at IQ. You got that? Sure. IQ. I'll show another generational opportunity. Whatever that is. I don't think I don't have anything here. I mean, maybe, but again, that's tough. That's a super low floater. No patterns looking left. No zones getting. What about daily? Yeah, I mean that's a fledgling creature. Not, again, look what we've done. Shark pattern. Straight down for the last 8 months. Okay, maybe we bottom fish a little bit, but I'm not, I'm not ready to dive in until the downtrend, especially the last 7, 8 months, you got to clear that type of thing. That would be first objective. So, yeah, maybe 122 hop level. That has to be the low. You can't really go lower than that. And it still has work to do. I'll show you one. I've been talking about it for over a month or more. Microsoft, kids. Okay, I managed to build up my position. I did not get the calls. I'm kicking myself a little bit on this, but I still think there's plenty of time. Microsoft is I started my position down here like 365. I added more, 380, another 100, 390. We're at 420. Yeah, I know. But we're at 420. And I've been saying that, Microsoft, the weekly is massive. The daily, it's a looping retest. That's how we knew. That's nothing else going to tell you exactly. to the level like harmonic patterns where we said, look, 374 to 352, the low is 356. I'm thinking that is end all be all, kind of next cycle low. Go to the weekly. How many times have we seen this? It is long term. We are in a 10-year uptrend here. Okay, every time we put in some kind of arrow or arrow dot, it was a massive continuation. And I think what's going to end up happening is that this week is going to be the big breakout week. Really similar to last year. Okay, Microsoft, big breakout candle after piercing the down of that downtrend channel. And you have a long way to go. I would say the same thing about what's about to happen in the next few weeks into the summer. I'm going to have to find a spot where I can load up on some 450 or some 500 calls. Maybe some June 500 calls or maybe some September 500 calls because that's where she's going. Imagine this. NASDAQ, QQQ cracking all-time highs, and Microsoft still has a ways to go. Still 25, 30% till you reclaim all-time highs. But it's really similar to what we saw back here 2022, there 2023, or even back here 2020, or even 2018. Every time you hit a weekly bullish continuation, it was a massive signal. Monthly, again, Microsoft, this just, you keep going here. You keep riding that. Amazing stuff. Couple more. MSGUFO looks at car. I saw this recently. Avis Budget Group has to be a short squeeze, right? This has got like GameStop written all over it. I don't know. That's your monthly chart, kids. I don't know. I just saw this a few days ago. Where'd it go? Come on back. Check out what it was. Any patterns here that might have put us into that position? Yeah. Amazing. Weekly shark 1, 2. Got a butterfly type 1. I mean, look at that type 2 on the butterfly. On principle, I probably would have said, you know what? I want to get a car rental company. But yeah. I mean, look at that. Type 2, software kicked it out, right? This is why we want to line things up. Arrow, check back. Dot, check back. Perfect. I mean, goodness, that was what? 6 weeks ago at 95, and then what did you hit? 450 almost. Okay, I can't offer you anything other than, how do you know when to get out? Well, the obvious recovery target is an 886 up here. You go there, come on back. 886 would be like 490-ish. And I don't think that would be a problem. Probably still higher. I mean, I can't really jump in on anything. But listen, when you line up big patterns like this, okay, they're going to give you plenty of time to capture a bigger move. Could I tell you that was going to explode and do a 4x a month later? Absolutely not. But we put ourselves in the proper position, type 2 with the dot and a check back. That's how we want to roll with it. Even this, like, remember what I was saying about like break the downtrend? You gotta break a downtrend. Plenty of development. Type 1 for the 2 and then go. Amazing. That's a great one. Apple had a pattern, guys. Still does. Apple within the trend. Apple goes a lot higher. I mean, NASDAQ is at all-time new highs. QQQ and Apple, what? Not even close? And I think you got to start to play for that because remember the deep crab type 2? Remember that? Last 2 weeks ago. This is why you want the software to serve up patterns. It's a type 2, okay? And even if you don't understand the patterns, the beauty of the software, if you want to know where the choice, kind of the biggest opportunities for any harmonic pattern, you're looking for the T2, you're looking for a dot, and that green line XA will turn on, and it's to the right of that dot is where the opportunity, where the pattern turns into a fat opportunity. That's it. Great. Love it. Apple. Look, Apple, T2 is 271. Guys, you're just looking for the continuation, all-time continuation. Ride the channel, and it's just going to keep going higher. A stock like Apple, you can trade it, but I'm with the kind of way things are shaping up, you want jump on points, and you want to get in, hold it, buy it on the retrace here, and ride it perpetuity. Unless something dramatically changes, things like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, they just stay on this path for the next 10 years. There's no question. A few more. Shopify, I got to get to Bitcoin here, and MicroStrategy, because these are big patterns themselves. Shopify, they got rejected off the all-time high. It's been a while. Nice. All right, I'm down on that. I'll start getting that on the radar. Look at the bat pattern, a type 1. But what do we know about framework? Got to go type 1 and then back for the 2. So I would say the type 2 return has begun for Shopify. Looks like you might have something on the 4-hour or daily. I knew it. Look at that. Bat pattern. Type 1, type 2, 112. I'd say go take it to 154. But definitely patterns printing. That's, do you have a pattern? Yes or no? Basic question. You got a pattern, you got levels to frame out the entry, stop loss, and exit. That's a 2. Go to 154. Yeah. One or two more. Riley? Is that the one? BRC Group? No. What about O'Reilly Auto, though? O'Reilly Auto Parts. Wasn't that, there was something there? ORLY. This is another massive trender. I've been looking at this one because this has got a crazy trend. A reverse split. Tell me what's going on there. Massive uptrend. Maybe giving us an opportunity to buy this. I would say back at 90. This is a big pause. I still say that massive uptrend continues. This is just devastating. But you continue to go with that unless something else develops, like a pattern, or there's no signals here. But I'd look at that. Where are we? Yeah, we're really close on that one. I thought there was, maybe it was a 4-hour. I was looking at that because I knew that was something that's always been on my radar. Yeah, $89, $90-ish. I like that one. I think that maybe that's what you were referring to. Yeah, AAP, Advanced Auto Parts. Yep. These are two that were just, people talked about. I remember 20 years people talking about Advanced Auto Parts. You go to the monthly here. Yeah, all the way. I mean, it did. Yeah, okay. I did not know this thing had that massive. I guess COVID destroyed it. Wow. All right. Doesn't grow to the sky, but that's a type 2 with confirmation down here. I thought that was still well up there. I guess not. Weekly? No, not more. Big pattern though. I mean, that's a big pattern. I'll look at that. I haven't looked at that in a while. Might have even be like 2 years. But I will say this one. Let's kind of bump into crypto, kids. This is the biggest pattern in crypto that I'm currently assessing. It is an all-time Gartley, 145 currently. XA level is 150. What are we going to do with this thing? Because there's a lot going on here that I don't want to be totally dismissive on Bitcoin and crypto. I don't think that crypto is going to see kind of the all-out bananas market that you saw in the last 5 or 10 years even. I think once we get past really 6 months, think of it this way. If they're right about the data, the dates, the time cycles, this crypto bear market is going to be over in less than 6 months, 5 months and a week. And I want to start lining things up that, okay, if you're going to have a cycle coming up starting in October, well, what do the charts say? Strategy here, okay, MSTR. I'm going to appreciate the fact that that's a type 1. We've been in this downtrend. We broke it. We checked back. You have all the confirmation that I want to look at. You know, I say you got to have a pattern. Let the market give you the signals. Okay, we use the software to do so. Arrow, dot, diamond, check back, green bar. I want a 3-bar breakout. You guys know that a simple price action, significant price action formation is a breakout of a 3-bar range. What are the last 3 bars? 1, 2, 3. Go back to March. What's that high? 143.85. We need to close above there. Call it 144. We close above 144 by tomorrow, then you've got a 3-bar breakout. And that would probably be the first bar since the top where you really can go deep on that and say, yep, time to go. Time to fly. So I'm looking at that. It is a massive Gartley. Now, it doesn't have to work out that way, but if we get that individual price action move, okay, MicroStrategy will go to the front of the list. 150 and change. We talked about some of this with Mitch on Tuesday. I still say you need to wait till next week, but it's an interesting harmonic play in the face of a lot of noise. What about Bitcoin? Bitcoin kind of stalling out. What do we say? Looking at like 74. Let's get that up there. We've been looking at 74K as kind of a top end daily. Here you go. We have some signals here. Daily time frame. All I want to focus on is like the last 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. Red HSI, we've checked back. We have 1, we have 2 HSIs. Okay. Also, we have everything that we need that literally today, you're down $400, 387. If we get the dot today, we get a red bar. Excuse me. That will be the first bearish dot, bearish harmonic signal that we have seen since the peak, all the way here. Okay, 1 and 2. It's a big deal. It happens. It's official tonight. Keep an eye on it. We're going to come back on Tuesday, and we will assess whether or not this is going to be the start of either the retest back at the 60 stuff, 64, 62. I'll get to that in a second. Or do we finally hit the breakdown move where 39K remains our downside target, guys? 39K Where is it? Oh, let me do it here. I'll bring this back up. I probably should retweet it. It's been a while. But 39K is the successive 886 all time. Hold on one second. I'm losing my voice here again. 39K is this. Oh, where'd you go? Come on. I'm going to retweet this right now. Hold on. Bear with me. Almost there. Almost there. Bingo. All right, here it is. December 14th. This will go down in history here. December 14th. Let's retweet it right now. Bang. Just repost it. It's on my X page, so if you guys want to hit that, here's the link. I'll put that link into the chat, so if you guys want to bookmark that. So every cycle has given us a 786 minimum retracement. Every cycle. 786, 2011, 2015, 2019, bang, 2023, and now, and that was December, guys. 2027, 39K, you get the picture, okay? I retweeted it on my X page. So I'm sticking with that. I'm just going to keep that in the back of my mind. With the bigger picture, we've got some weekly confirmation, no doubt. And I've been saying we could get a little relief rally here. But the picture is really on the monthly, like this. And the monthly 786, let's just trace it out. It's a cycle 786. Let's be clear about that. Where you take the prior cycle high to low, go up from the low there, 15 change to 125. That's your 786. I've got it like 39,380, 39,4. It's sub 40K. That's still my target, harmonic target. Like, prove me wrong. How can it get proven wrong? Well, if this is going to be somehow different, the other harmonic event that we have isolated or we have essentially identified doing the harmonic research with HSI, arrow, dot, arrow, arrow, dot, arrow, dot, arrow. HSI on the monthly chart every time generated a signal at the low. And now we are oversold here, but we haven't come out of the zone. Not yet. The other thing to note, okay, there's still plenty of time. Still plenty of time. And you can drop percentage-wise to get down to hit that 786. Even though we are technically in the oversold zone, it's not until we get out that we even start to consider it. And then if you're worried about missing out on the whole Bitcoin move, guys, it won't begin until we get above the 50. There. Okay? You go back to like 2018 where we made the first signal. We didn't really get going until it was May 19. You go here, okay, come out of the zone. It was October, but we broke the 50. And that was like February 23. There will be plenty of time to capture Bitcoin at the Pico low for the cycle. Get out of the zone, get above the 50s, whether we get arrow, diamond, whatever, arrow, check back, dot, the real signal will be above the 50 level on the monthly. Plenty of time. No reason to get into Bitcoin. Not yet. You're not missing out. And I'm going to wait for those signals. Respect the last 4 cycles. Respect these obvious HSI signals here. And then we'll get ready to do it again. What was the Was it the IBIT? Or was it, I think it was BitX. Let me see here. IBIT's a big 886. I think it was BitX was the 2X where we had some things down here. Not ready. It's oversold. This is the 2X Bitcoin strategy. Mitch brought this up last time. Yeah, you got some patterns here. Dot diamond, you're at the all-time 886. So, I don't want to ignore this. It won't be official until next week, but I will start looking. I think next week and maybe in 2 weeks, you get into early May, then we need to start thinking about, okay, how does this end? How does the Bitcoin bear cycle end, believe it or not? It's been bad, but not like other cycles. Not even close yet. And just to circle back, we talked about MicroStrategy. Ethereum, too, guys. All right, Ethereum, all-time index. I am looking for a relief rally. Why? Because the weekly signals generated, and I've highlighted that. HSI, the HSI dots, those are huge. They've been huge advancements for the whole harmonic methodology. The dot, the arrow, the dot, that's all related to harmonic strength index, which is the official harmonic indicator to use with patterns. Okay, down here and here, there's a process to it. If you're new and get the software, take some time to study where all those signals come in. I mean, check out every instance. And I mean, when I say every instance of a weekly dot, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, over and over again, we do not ignore these signals. Harmonics are phenomenal with crypto. And I'm going to respect what the patterns and the signals are giving us now. A lot going on there. I like that. Probably could take, I think what we're looking at is kind of similar to what you saw in 2022, where you had confirmation. That was July. You retested it. It was December. So you spend 6 months or more before you really start to make any kind of progress. And, the other thing we've been talking about today, just respecting downtrends. So we can't really expect acceleration until you break the downtrend. You're there and you're here. So early, maybe still a few more weeks, but those are the big signals. And look at what it did at the top here. Alternate bat, right? Alternate bat, but more important, dot, send it down, dot, dot, double dot at the hop, send it down. So these dots have been just spot on. Spot on. Stick with that. One or two more. Oh yeah, AutoZone. Cactus Leo, we'll look at that next time. So, hey, what do you do with these others? What do you do with like Cardano? I mean, is this really anything? I just don't think there's much to go on here, because people do ask me time to time, Cardano. What do you do with Cardano? What do you do with H bar or the rest of these? And I think it all fits into the category of simple technicals. Are you in a downtrend? Or are you breaking out? Do you have any harmonic, whatever? And I don't think you've got much here to go on. I mean, it's just you're kind of winging a prayer type for a turnaround. And I mentioned this last time. The big disappointment in the last cycle was the larger failure of this past cycle to do much against the 2020 cycle. And that's a perfect all-time 382. So look at it that way. And the fact that you hit the 382 and you send it all the way back down, that's just devastation. I don't want any crypto opportunities that haven't made progress. I one or two that you know maybe that I respect the trend, and I've said this for a while that this Tron, I like that trend. I can expect things. I can make assumptions off the continuation of a trend like this, and it's still holding, progressing. That's TRX. That's something that is possible. The rest of them, I can't really. I mean, and some of the big names that you guys know, like someone was asking me about Hyper last time, Hyper Liquid, and I get it. They're supposed to really get going. I mean, Hyper Liquid here weekly, it's not bad. You've done a recovery, but it's a shark to 5-0. All right, at least that has recovered. I probably could get a better. What's a better? Hold on, let me get a longer term or the longest. MEXC. I guess this is relatively new. Last year or two, right? What's a good? Yeah, don't have a really good exchange for that, but people were asking about this. I didn't even look at it. Okay, not bad recovery. What was the other one? Who put that in our chat? It was Ordi, Ordinals. This was one I was in back in 2023. It did nothing. Ordinals, look at that. I mean, typical crypto. Okay, there's not a lot, even with this. Someone brought this up in our chat, and I can't tell you that that's going to do that kind of a move. I would rather be in a Tron than even trying to hit this, despite what it did. Okay, you're up $5. You're up 145% in one day. But look at the long term. Okay, still in a massive downtrend. So, is this the start of something? I can't really. I would never jump into something that's up 145% like that. And again, that's a different creature than what, say, Tron is printing. And I don't know, guys. Anything else out there? Truly, any other crypto that is doing anything? I don't know. I mean, what was the one you put up? A Monero and Zcash. So there you go. And I do agree with that. They had massive moves. They are, despite the massive move and the correction, yeah, they're still in the trend line. I mean, Monero is like that. Like Tron, I would say. I mean, this massive bump is, that was, I think that was a money laundering event. I forget what was going on there, but you definitely had the news around it was that there was somebody piling in a lot of money to launder money. I don't really know, but trend-wise, okay, sure. I can get into that kind of trend. Like, what crypto is going to work in the next cycle? It better be on an uptrend, and it better have progress. So, okay. So far so good. Yeah, Zcash is the other one. Is Zcash really going to be the thing? I don't know. You people 3,000, whatever. You hear people call out numbers, and yes, I am a little sour on it because I had bailed on that back in, I guess it was May, I think, of a year ago before the move. I missed the move. I missed the big move. That would have been my crypto winner for the cycle. But is this going to lead to anything? We had this big check back confirmation. I would be waiting for a retest of 200, guys. And there aren't too many that are looking like this. At least it didn't come all the way down for a full 886. But that's about it. The other one that people ask me about is Dash. And I'm there with you guys. Look, I agree. Some crypto will make it. Bitcoin is always going to be around. Here's Dash, another privacy coin, big pattern. Amazing how, check out the type 1 that it did. And so technically this is a type 2. 25 was the hop. Didn't do anything for years. Big reaction up to target 135. This is harmonic pattern framework in action. Come back. This is technically a type 2. On the weekly, you did have a check back. So that's, if you're looking for something, anything. Could it go back to 100, 130? Absolutely. But you need to, if you're going to try it, you need to be picking it at the spot, which is like $30. And I'm not, I'm more focused on the winners for the next 2-3 years are going to be like semiconductors, load into like Microsoft. So I know I get there at the end of the game, and I'm not, dealing with something that never returns. And I showed you guys Link last time, and Link it's massive. Okay, it's a massive type 2. Weekly at 940, where it is right now. Look at the Gartley. That's a beauty. But has this really yielded anything? Not really. I mean, again, big disappointment on last cycle. But I would look at it, I think you're months away before you can make that assessment. Bitcoin needs to get going and doing stuff. There was one other one. While we're here, why not? Binance Coin, had a huge move, still on an uptrend. So if they're going to be anything, you better stabilize down here. I'm not a fan. There are very few that I would say you can really look at trend-wise, harmonically. Anything else? Jupe. Okay, Jupe is great because a lot of people talked about that 2 years ago. What did it do? Nothing. Nothing. You can't, again, no. It's just a flat out no on something like that. Why? Well, you're still in a verifiable downtrend, and that could trade to zero. Without a doubt, that can go to zero. I really don't have a lot. And you try it, and you get in there. The reality of it is that it's a big difference between looking at the chart and then being in the position where you think, oh, well, 17 cents, and it was $1.70. So, it's 90+% off the all-time high, and it does nothing ever. Like ever again. Like 17 cents now, and then just grinds to 10 cents or 5 cents. And I'll show you. Okay, someone asked about Doge last time. And Doge is another one. Look at that massive bat pattern. It'd be really easy for me to say, oh, of course, there's a pattern here. It's going to explode. It's going to do whatever. Nope, you're grinding. I need to see major development, 3-bar breakout, something before I could even consider. And I don't, this Doge is just another failure. Maybe if the cycle got really hot, okay, you could have 15 cents or 20 cents. But guys, why? Why, when things like Intel, Microsoft, semiconductors, other plays are just so obvious where they're headed, it's not worth it. It's not there. And that's still like a top 10. That is a top 10. I think there's a monthly here. No, I don't even want to go there. I really think the bulk of crypto and the concept plays that people were talking about, they didn't work out. They're not coming back. And these are, for the most part, dead assets. I think Doge needs to go back to like 6 cents. There's nothing here. Nothing there. Yeah. What's PURR? Hyperliquid strategies? What's that? No, I don't know what that is. I don't know. No, again, guys, the thought is this. We're going to monitor Bitcoin at this 74, 75,000. Okay? That's all I'm interested in. Harmonic traders, it's this. Arrow, dot. Dot is not official for 5 more hours. This is the potential continuation. The thing I didn't show you on Bitcoin, 4-hour time frame, please be aware, we've had a lot of back-to-back patterns. All right, we're shark to shark at the moment. I would think after today, we confirm that daily, we go shark to 5-0, back to 70K, 70,528, if not lower. I'm trying to keep it really tight and just stay on this 4-hour. I know what's going on in the daily. I know the weekly, the monthly. We got things a lot lower. But for now, in the next week, 10 days, we'll get past today. And we're looking for this top out, 74, 75-ish, to go back to 70K. And then we'll gauge, how deep that retest is. At a minimum, we've got 1 and 2 areas that are potential retest points. All right, be real clear on that. Not until, again, not the larger picture, still down. We have a daily development looking like it's ready to roll lower. So we'll see how that shapes up. I think MicroStrategy is something, we can consider starting next week, but not until then. Nothing until then. Yeah, not anymore. Okay, Euro. All right, let's wrap up. I'm willing to look at that. Euro. We haven't looked at currencies in a long time. Euro, USD, big bat pattern on the 4-hour. Currencies, guys, they're just not really a market that's moving. I know people that trade them. I just think they're kind of dead markets. They haven't really done much. Maybe you get 1, 2 opportunities every few months. Significant. And don't get me started on these lower volume brokers that front run unregulated brokers. I don't even want to. Yeah, whatever. So Euro USD. Yeah, again, maybe you're at a short-term top. Maybe you have a little retrace. Maybe that suggests a stronger dollar. Don't know. But, what about gold? That's the real currency going down here. Gold, interestingly enough, 4-hour chart. Okay. I am, like NASDAQ and tech, I'm super bullish on that market continuing. Gold, silver, I'm still super bullish. I still think we see a 5,500 retest in the next 8 to 12 months. But for right now, we're a little overextended. Look at this 48, 49 level, some confirmation, and then maybe we can have a retest back down, and then we get going again. Same can be said for silver. But we're just resolving what happened at the top in January, and the thought that everyone should maintain with precious metals. We typically see bottoms in the summer and tops in the winter. The seasonal bullish time for gold is November, December, January, into February. That played out perfectly this past year. But still think gold on the chart, long way to go. You're just waiting for the daily, weekly, even monthly to trigger some oversold levels before we resume. And the weekly HSI is going to print something tomorrow. This isn't by far. It is just one retracement point. I'm thinking 5,500, and then yeah, we see 10K someday. I am not bearish. I am fully bullish gold. I'm fully bullish silver. I think these are still depressed, just playing catch up now. Maybe I'll get into that. I've done some work recently looking at long-term cycles on gold and silver, and maybe kind of get into it next week of why I do feel like the cycle in both of these have a long way to go. It relates to money supply. It relates to just overall valuation, cycle valuation. I'll save it for next week. You got it. All right, folks, that's what I have for today. I'm going to save my voice, but I will just say semiconductors, get the socks on. If you're not into the semiconductor list, how about I post that semiconductor list on X? And if you guys want to get over to what we do, it's all here at harmonictrader.com. Send your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. If you want to get access to our gold group for free, check it out. Just hit me up on the Discord, okay? Pretty easy going on all of that. But we'll be back on Tuesday. So hit the like, subscribe on the way out so you get notification when we go live, because, I'm not exactly timely, but it's a 12:30-ish start every day. Until then, folks, have a great weekend. As always, go get them. We'll catch you on Tuesday. Peace.